Hi folks, how y'all doing? Dave here with Sil, coming at you. New video. We wanted to follow up last week's video on how to build Nimbus with her smaller counterpart, the Cirrus. Want to get this one out of there right away because, well, it's basically easy. We had one of our viewers chime in and was asking us to see if we could build how to build on the Venom. Well, we'd love to do that. It's going to be a little bit trickier as we here ourselves at SIL have a problem with how to build Venom. We're trying to refine the process. We can probably show you how. It's just that it's probably not going to turn out the way we'd like it to. We need to streamline. I can tell you how to do it, but I can't it won't be simple, and I need to make it simple. So while we can get the right path, the right cuts, probably the right weight balance, the right dimensions, it won't be a pure Venom. So that being said, we can show you how to build Cirrus. And well, here's Cirrus. Cirrus is a Nimbus only shrunk down, so it's really kind of goofy to do this one for you. This one will be really quick how to build. Basically, what you're doing is trying to maintain the same ratios that you had when you built Nimbus on a smaller sheet. We're trying to make this out of a regular sheet, so for those of you that can't, I mean, Nimbus is great for a transport plane. You like to build a bigger plane. This is for those of y'all that regular notebook sheet of paper or worksheet, Xerox paper, printer paper. This will work for you. Take your A4 or your 8.5 by 11. And anyway, what you're starting off with though is 8.5 by 9.5. So I'm gonna let y'all get that. You can hit pause on me, get it to 8.5 by 9.5, and we'll go from there. Once you've got that though, almost everything you learned from Nimbus is the same. So without further ado, let's get this rolling. So you start in landscape mode, of course, and you fold it in half. There's a reel in this drum. Could you tell? Alright, fold it in half, and then the crucial fold, this is what makes it different. If you remember from your Nimbus build, or the Nimbus video, if you didn't have a chance to build it, Nimbus turns out having, and this is important really, because both models have been experimented with, Nimbus turns out having like the illustrated version of Cirrus, and since I built it, I can do that, but this little bitty delta diamond tip. All Nimbuses have that. Cirruses typically don't. I built this one to actually have that, but it's not required, and typically they don't have it. They don't like it, they fly better without it. It's subtle, but it does make a difference, believe it or not. So, this fold will dictate whether or not you give it that. And what you want to do with your same basic fold, just start it so that you're going to give it just a little bit of a flat area back there where your winglet's going to be, or your anhedral. See, you got me calling it winglets again. You'll hear me calling them anhedrals a lot, probably so much that you'll end up getting me sick and tired of it. But I feel that even they're off the end of the wings, they're anhedrals. It's kind of like the dihedrals on the F4 Phantom. You know, they flipped up on the outside. The wing had those tips where the folding happened in the naval variants. All of my planes, a lot of my planes like to have it. Not all planes, but a lot of the planes like to have it. And since they're that large, I consider them anhedrals. When they're only like this little bitty piece, that's when they're winglets. So I always call them anhedrals. Anyway, just like a Nimbus before though, as long as it comes to somewhat of a point, it doesn't have to be exactly a point because you're going to snub this anyway. So where your first fold here is doesn't matter, but you really do want to create a little bit of a flat area, eliminating the delta diamond tip you would have got if you built Nimbus. And in this case, I've got about a ½ inch down here. So you repeat that fold on the other side. Again, you're welcome to build a, as a matter of fact, I invite you to build a test fleet of them and tell me what you find. Like if you build it, put a delta diamond tip on it. Make this bigger, make this smaller. Just let me know. Show a video. Let's see how yours fly. Cirrus and Nimbus are basically pretty simple. So you got that. Duplicated your fold. Here you want to put your keel crease on there to flip this up. fingernails, people, fingernails, your young ones, start getting in the habit. If you want to make these nice, tight, crisp folds, you're going to want to get your fingernails involved. The best way to do it. Those of you more experienced, if you haven't started doing that, why? Get on it. Makes your folds nice and crisp. I mean, granted, some of them don't need that, but it just shows the little extra effort. Flip it over, redo your fold on the other side. Did you follow me along on that? I'm sorry. Sometimes when I get into folding, you get into folding. You know, you don't pay attention. But you saw what happened though. We took it, basically folded it in half, folded it down, repeated on the other side, and folded it up. So you ended up like this. Okay, you should have this as the final product. Basically, it just came from that kind of fold. You just crunched it down and came up like that. Okay, all right. Now, and again, this is important. What you want to do is you want to get this fold here, start creating for your winglets. So, oh yeah, it's got to fold it on the inside. You don't have to do it this way. I like reversing the fold though, and of course when you crease it, you have to kind of take your crease out. Just because once you make the crease, it's harder to fold the opposite direction. But I like to do it this way because I like to put the reverse stress on it. Plus the fact that when you do this fold the opposite direction, this next fold, the one up here, you bring it down here, it has like a nice surface to tape on. You can obviously do it the other way, but these planes don't seem to be hurt by the amount of weight that you're going to be putting on by taping. So, but again, I invite you, please change it, see what you do, let me know. Let us know in the comments, post your own videos of flight. I want to see what it does. So anyway, what you're doing is the same thing as Nimbus. You're making this fold as bare minimum as you can, and still keep it on the wing. You can tuck this too if you want. Of course, it's entirely up to you. I just like it on the outside because, again, Nimbus and Cirrus need a little bit of the weight, and putting weight here and here seems to help it out pretty good. So I folded it on the outside there. Sorry, that's kind of bleached. Even the light I can... Oh, yeah, I can do that. Okay, so you see, it's on the outside there, and it's following just the outside of that. So you want to duplicate that on the other side. That's almost better light for you people, isn't it? Don't worry, I'm getting a better lighting scheme too, so... Modifications coming with the new base. Hopefully, we shall see. Well, we shall see. Anyway, crisp folding. Make it as duplicated as possible. Up near the nose, it's a little bit trickier, but that won't matter because, of course, we're folding the nose in as the next step. So you got that there? Okay. Then what you're going to do, this is going to be the outside, so take it to the inside valley fold that you have there on the outside. And you want to fold your nose in. I don't even measure it because I know what I'm trying to achieve. Just so long as you get it somewhere in the neighborhood of over an inch. It makes it trickier for the wing fold coming up. Like I folded it. My God, I have this down to a science. It's 1.5 inches. It's slightly over 1.5 inches to be exact, but it does make it trickier when you do the fold for the wings coming up, but you live with it. You do what you can. You move on. Crisping up the folds here. It does want to poof. Next step, go ahead and give it your anhedrals back here. These are going to pretty much be the same size, if not slightly bigger than your fuselage in height. So we're going to say somewhere in the neighborhood of around 3/4 inch. Fits the square. So 3/4 inch. This is not, I'm giving you exact numbers so you have parameters, but of course it doesn't need to be. So you do what you can. Okay, got that there. I'm going to go ahead and what I recommend you guys do the same thing as well. Tape it while it's like this. So a small piece of tape, don't have to go overboard, but try to make it as small as you possibly can. To put here on the corner piece where your winglet is to hold that puppy down. Okay. I mean, it's really a small piece of tape. They don't mind the weight, but you don't want to go overboard. So I'm just doing like a half-inch piece of tape. And the tape is half-inch, so and get it on that corner. As long as it's on the underside of the wing. See if I can illustrate that for you by changing the lighting scheme again. You can see the tape there. It's basically supposed to cover that piece of paper that you folded all the way down there. So it's not like, and I do this too. Grab your pen and right at the tape line where that fold is, you want to use the pen to just make sure that the tape holds that down. It kind of gives you a little bit of a reference point in the fold and the cut, and then the tape holds better. So also, just dropped it. While you have the pen in hand, you may want to head like I do. If you think about it, code this, at least put a date on it so you know when you built it, so you know how old your plane is. This way, when you come across 10 years from now and you still have it, you go, my God, I built that plane 10 years ago. It's a 10-year-old plane. That's pretty cool. Or you might burn it tomorrow. I don't know. But I like having them coded right away. And it is May 2nd. And I will flip buzz code, as I'm apt to do. This is an IVPAC thing. If you join up, we recommend you do this too. Alright, so you got that. You're going to want to do your wings. I'll keep the lighting like this. You're going to want to do your wings about the same. I mean, it's touchy. Fold it from the wings to the nose because the nose is going to be trickier. And try to make it somewhat similar to your anhedrals. And straight down as possible. There's no slant to the fuselage. These are gliders. This is one of the reasons why they glide. Your nose will be tricky, so you want to make sure that you get as much of this, the bake by the wing basis, down as far, because when you get up to this point, especially if you folded it like I did, it's going to want to fight you. That one actually came out okay. And flip it over, and of course make your wing on the other side. Even up the lines as much as possible. There's a point of consensus. I like to point this out again because there's a point of consensus saying, like, do you match up this line or do you match up these lines? Well, I like to match up these lines. And I don't know why, because really if you match up these lines, there's a little bit more symmetry, and of course if these aren't matched, you can always cut them to match. So it's a different fold philosophy. Again, show me what you got. I'd like to see a difference here. Get your nose. Nose is going to be a little bit trickier probably, because there's going to be a little bit of weight right there near the tip. Okay. Got your wings, got your anhedrals. Now you're going to give you your little canard winglets up here. Again, these, it follows a straight line. The anhedrals follow the straight line of the fuselage, follow the straight line of the wing root. The winglet here will also do the same. As big as you can make it, but try to get it so that it kind of folds right off the leading edge of this part of the wing. The more swept chord. Sorry. Okay. Fold both sides. Flip it over to fold both sides. And you should have it. It'll be done. Typically, now you can play with this as you want, as you see fit too. You could tape it. Well, that's true actually, because that is a word I do use. Tapling, just like when you add tape under or over the staple that you're already going to put over there, it kind of reinforces it. And I do that with these sometimes, but this one's case, I'm just going to start with the staple. It feels a little bit nose heavy, but Cirrus takes it better than Nimbus does. So give it the staple. As it stands, the fuselage is about slightly bigger than 3/4 of an inch, so it does fit with the, see on the square there, about 3/4 of an inch, so it does fit with the size of the anhedrals. So then once you got it, you unfold it to your specifications. Taking my anhedrals back out, making them straight as possible. Take my winglets back out. One cool thing about this versus the Nova is for some odd reason this one doesn't seem to be as affected by the yaw problems created by the 5 rudders this plane has, whereas Nova is. It's really strange. But you got a rudder here, a rudder here, a rudder here, a rudder here, and a rudder here. And there you have it. That is Cirrus. Close coupled canard up there with the long cord, and of course the lacking delta diamond tip, which you should have had with a version of, well, okay, this is still a Cirrus, but this is my version with the delta diamond tip. I'm playing with it, so I know that one works. You want to do this, but you can do that later. And that's about it. Like I said, your dimensions, as it turns out when you're finished, should be 8 inches by, without the anhedrals, 5 3/4 inches, somewhere in that neighborhood, assuming you did it like I did it. Fuselage depth is 3/4 inch. I'm sorry, I should be doing this in front of you. As are the anhedrals. So these are as straight as each other. There you have it. Should look like that, slightly bell-shaped. And one thing that Cirrus does like, just like Nimbus likes, slight upward tilt to the fold of the wings here. The anhedrals in the back, as close to 90 degrees as possible, slightly canted out. The winglets, very much so canted out off the wing plane. If they're straight up, they usually don't fly as good. But again, I invite you to see what you can see. But when it's trimmed for flight, looks like that. I wish I could see myself in reverse. Right now, those do look a little straight. I will alter that. But I guarantee you, they'll fly pretty straight. The plan form leaves you with the basis for a bunch of modifications because it is a glider. You can, of course, put what we call the UFR, the upright fin from rudder, so you can cut on the underside down here, this way, the way my fingers are, and then poke the rudder back up through. You can split it so it has a tailplane. You can put the dual fins from the rear wings, cut them here and here, and to the bases. We haven't tried that so much. I don't think they like that much. You can definitely do the, not exactly new, but newer free-floating rudders, as we call them. Cutting a little bit of your bases of the fold down here, also here, so you can adjust those rudders. Usually you don't need to adjust this rudder, you need to adjust these. And of course, playing with the weight. Your center of gravity on this thing should be just about right. Should be right where it needs to be. My fan's going, so this makes it a little bit trickier, but center of gravity is shown to be right about there, which is where it should be. You'd probably want to throw it about there. And one thing I've taken to doing on these planes lately, just because it's not a weight issue, but it's a streamlining issue, just give it a little bit of an angled snip to the nose on the bottom. Just a tip. Just a little bit. Why? I don't know. Like I said, we just like to do it lately. It's a signature touch. And there you have it, though. I will code this, combat code this for IVPAC and get it out there. Just like the previous one I built here. And by all means, get them outside, get them flying. People, let me know what you think. Let me know what you've accomplished with it, and see if you found something it likes that I haven't figured out. Thanks for listening. Keep them flying.